Hi everybody, so my name is Siobhan and I am the Celtic Empath and I am in Ireland, hence the Celtic bit. And I suppose to kind of reintroduce myself, or if you're new finding this video, I am a gifted clairvoyant. I am gifted with I suppose a natural high level of empathy, and it's empathy that I have learned to use as a skill over the years. So I identify as, if I am to identify with anything, as an empath, and which many people, with this kind of the new energies that are going around between the narcissist and the empath, has been a big sort of wave of I guess the power struggles that have been happening for a lot of people in relationships. So that has been very much coming up to the fore and coming to the front, and kind of still is in a lot of ways, showing up within our governments and how we are choosing as a society to live. And there goes my book, it just slid down the wall for some reason, my fairy book. But today, I really felt compelled today. I wanted to address the issue that's going on at the moment with the 5G thing. At the moment in Ireland, we've got a bit of a rollout with the 5G, and we have an election coming up at the end of May. And so, of course, it's big on the agenda now because they're trying to really push through updating our broadband. And for some reason, they have... the governments, when I say they have really targeting the west of Ireland, which at the moment is underpopulated, I guess. It's beautiful, the most very beautiful part of Ireland. If you've ever been to the west, it's amazing, wild scenery, but it's quite depopulated. A lot of people have left. A lot of the young people do leave and have left over the years. They go into the cities, or of course they're, as Irish people, being an island nation, we immigrate a lot, and that's unfortunately has left this devastating effect on the West, and it's been really forgotten about and neglected in a lot of ways, bar with the tourism. We get a lot, it does attract a lot of tourism, which is important for its survival. But for some reason, this 5G rollout network, upgrading the broadband, because they have been, of course, an area that's been neglected again in Ireland when it comes to updating resources, infrastructure, keeping the place relevant, and it's been forgotten again with broadband. So their broadband service in the west of Ireland, and it's, it's quite a big area. It's not a small part of Ireland. It actually is quite a large constituency for the government, and they're focusing now. All of a sudden, we've got all these ads on the television, just in time for the general election at the end of May, and where they have tried to push through some contract to pump 3 billion into the broadband infrastructure there. But of course, if for the rest of us who are kind of reading up about what exactly is happening with broadband now, like, it's 5G, and they have on this advertisement that they're using on the TV, they have one picture, brief fleeting photograph or an image of a worker, a telecommunications worker. He's up a pole and he's constructing one of those large discs that is the transmitter for the 5G network. So they're still not saying that it's the 5G, but they're giving hints that it is 5G. So they're not even clear with the message at the moment, but they're telling us how wonderful this is going to be for the West and how it's going to bring people back to the West, which is great. They're selling us the best case scenario. They're not telling us about the infrastructure really that they're going to be using. But of course they want everybody to back this, because this is wonderful, this is great, and definitely if they have really fantastic broadband, which will by all accounts is supposed to be the best broadband service that we could possibly have in Ireland, because even 4G is still catching up in Ireland. It's unbelievable. Actually, the service is third world countries that actually have better broadband services and infrastructure than we have here still. Tiny little country that we are, but an amazing little country. But do I want people unknowingly to be going for this broadband 5G in the west of Ireland and not really know and understand fully what it is they're getting themselves into? So with the 5G, there's all kinds of fear really around what it potentially can do, because it's a higher grade of a transmitter, a higher grade of electromagnetic waves. It falls somewhere around the radiation levels or the electromagnetic transmission levels of a microwave. I think it's a little bit above the microwave. It's around that. I haven't got the book that I was reading with me now, but it's another slightly extra dimension than the 4G. It's a higher grade than the 4G, and it's a higher grade than FM radio. It's a higher grade than our TV sets. It's a higher grade than what we're using on our phone sets at the moment. And if, for the viewers who are watching and listening, we're fairly well read these days, that we know that even these transmissions can certainly do enough to affect our own brain waves and our brain states. But what I really want to say, I guess, is that at the end of the day, this is like another part of the agenda of fear mongering and putting fear into people. And for people who lack the awareness, or are not read up and don't understand or don't know what 5G potentially could actually mean for the effects on their sort of well-being or their health, there is the potential that it could affect people who are very susceptible to it. And there is the potential that it is going to, on some level, it does affect all of us, because it does affect our brain states and our brain waves and our bodies conduct energy and conduct, because we're made of water, we're made mostly of water. So really, at the end of the day, we have two choices to make. And there is the choice of awareness and information and gaining knowledge and knowing what this is about, and knowing what the agenda is and understanding it, and knowing that also as a human collective that we are actually making this choice. It is a choice that as a collective together, because we're all in this together, no matter how enlightened we think we are, how conscious, or what level of awareness we're achieving in our own personal lives, and that's regardless of if you feel your next door neighbour is lacking a certain level of a consciousness or awareness, so that you feel that, okay, the 5G might affect your neighbour but it won't affect you, but what's the concern and how it affects the person who's living next door to you, if you feel they're lacking a level of consciousness that they need to come up to. So that's still an idea of fear, that it can still be around you. But we live in madness. We live in a society of dysfunction and chaos. And even if you're the Buddha, or if you think you're reincarnated, that your past life, that you were the Buddha, or that in the past life reincarnation you were some high level enlightened being, and now here you are again and think you're doing really well on your path of enlightenment. Let's hope, not hope. Let's hold that thought or that belief that, okay, do you feel strong enough in that idea that there isn't a shred of fear in there? And not to let the fear in, or not to have one weak thought that could allow for that fear to come in. Because even comparing yourself or thinking that you might be more enlightened or more conscious than your next door neighbour, that's still fear. The opposite of fear is love. So even if we know that somebody who may not be fully aware of what's going on, if we see that they're being affected by something, what do we do in a normal everyday circumstance? We hope that we find it within ourselves to be able to offer the certain level of love and compassion, a heart-centered empathy towards another person that we can see is being affected. But we don't have to be allowed or allow ourselves to be affected. If we can live in our own heart-centered, awakened consciousness on a daily basis, and we notice what's going on around us, and we notice by staying centered maybe how people are being affected. We may not know the cause or the root cause, but when it comes to even this whole 5G thing, and it's going to be a challenge, that's a sure thing. So if we do notice, we think somebody's been affected by 5G transmitters, what do? We still hold heart-centered space for ourselves, and we hold heart-centered space for that person. We hold the vibration. That's what we do. It's even more important and more relevant now that we hold that same space and vibration. So it's all a conscious choice. We are still consciously choosing. As the collective, we're choosing still to go down the road of technology, and we think technology and upgrading technology and going to 5G and whatever can come after 5G. The collective, we're still following this road, this crazy road of consumerism, and more and more and more. It's still happening. But on the smaller scale, we have the lesser amount of that happening, where there are more people holding space, there are more people being heart-centered, and there are more people becoming more and more aware. And so stay true and believe and trusting in that is happening too, and you are part of it. And there goes the I try as an Irish person not to say ams in my video. All I really want to say is that we are still all choosing how we live. We're still all choosing what we think, what we want to believe in. And yeah, here I am on technology, using technology as well to source and communicate and reach out to people. And it's great crack. I love it. It's great fun. But God, after 2 hours if I've been doing the Facebook, doing the emails, doing my images for social media, whatever, like 2 hours, that's it. Like, my brain is done in. Which is why I'm not going to actually spend any time probably at all even trying to edit out this video. This is just ad lib, ad hoc, and it just is what it is. So really holding space. Remember, this is a conscious choice of choosing to be in love or choosing to be in fear. And that's really it. And when you hold space to choose love in this, and you choose not to be fearful of 5G, it's part of upgrading your own conscious state again, even further. So this is even more important for you to hold space for yourself. We can't always hold space for other people. We can't always care for other people, maybe in the ways that we would like to sometimes, or rescue people, which, there could be an issue of codependency is still a thing. It's still around. And I understand that this could be part of the process of clearing out a lot of the codependency tendencies of us, again, not choosing or unchoosing victimhood, unchoosing codependency, unchoosing fear, unchoosing abuse, and a lot of all these various different things, doubt and worry and anxiety that go along with that. On the other side of things, I do have some crystals here. It's nice to have some kind of a backup in some way, or a little bit of support, or something to touch base with. I wear my lapis lazuli. I love this stone for psychic protection. It's a very important one. So I've been wearing this recently because the energies have been there's been heavy energies around as well since the April full moon. And maybe I could do a video to update on that, but it may not be relevant now. We're into May. But other than that, amethyst. Don't forget your amethyst. Touch base with your crystals. Any of the dark stones, great protectors. Selenite wand. It's angelic. This one is great for clearing out energies. You know, give yourself a break if you need to clean your energy and clean your force field. Love that one. And we have some rose quartz to stay heart-centered. Remember who we are. Remember the core. Remember what's important. And just stay with it. There are just a few. And there's loads of them. Probably in the last few years I've moved a lot away from using crystals an awful lot. And because I know that there is now another way. There is a more higher enlightened way. And crystals are great. Like, I don't not use them, I don't discredit them. They're very important and have been a massive, massive important part of my own spiritual journey and my own lessons and learning about energy. And I understand and I use crystals, but I don't rely on them anymore as much as I used to. I don't depend on them as much anymore. Oh, there's the codependency. So that's it really. You know, 5G to 5D, that's what I say. 5G, so for people who know what I'm talking about, 5D, 5-dimensional. Yeah, you'll know what I'm referencing to there. So go in love and light and peace and choose positivity over negativity, because that wins every single time.